Rank the albums.
Hi, I'm looking at the albums and arguable albums of Mannequin, fronted by Care Failure, who is the only consistent member of the band. In the long term, we might call it a solo act, but it's the sound of a full band. Reading Wikipedia will tell you that one of the most unpleasant musicians in Toronto's history was once a member of this band, but I don't think he's on any of the recordings, and I don't think he was a creative contributor. They're the songs of a punk rock tearaway who really feels emotions, has an intelligent thing to say, and a primal means of expressing it. I really admire Care Failure's talents, and she got some of the best backing musicians in to make that sound absolutely full. Their first two EPs were released on this compilation CD called Unicorn Steak. I've not got the original EPs, but I've got all of the tracks on here. The first one, chronologically, honestly doesn't bring much, but that second EP, which is put first on the track list here, is really strong. Couple that with a bonus track, and you've got a very decent average. This is worth getting. Then there's the actual album, which is called Pheno plus Bleed. I've got a Japanese version for some reason. This is a really strong album. It does that thing where there are some short songs which are like interludes, and I know they can often be filler, but here it definitely fills it out. What's filler but good? The songs on here are really strong, just one after another. The production has stepped up since the EPs. It really realizes the potential hinted at in the earlier songs. I think this is one of the best examples of a 21st century rock album. She's got a brilliant voice, but all the rest of the instruments are just as good. They've got Jack Irons on drums on this. They know what they're doing. They even do that thing from that Smashing Pumpkins song where they mix in the sound of gunshots. I know that was a Doom reference in Smashing Pumpkins. Look, generally in my life, I've never really understood why humans have guns. Now I do. They are percussion. It's really good. I don't know what else to tell you except listen to this heavy and masterful work, Pheno plus Bleed by Mannequin. This band, despite a relatively short lifespan, has arguably two films. The fiction one I can't really recommend, but the documentary is good. Then a further EP was released. You might guess from the title that it's like a remix EP. Don't worry, it's not. It's clearly creatively from the same age as Pheno plus Bleed, and 3 live tracks at the end. It's kind of just another supplement of a brilliant album. It doesn't really compare in total, because yeah, it repeats the song. There's one on which Anthony Bleed sings, which I really can't advocate. Like, his voice is on the album too, and it really works in what he does on there. But as a lead vocalist, it's hard to know how to compare this with the EP compilation because, yeah, that's kind of like a pre-supplement for the album and this is like a post-supplement. It doesn't have as much content, but I guess it's got a slightly better average in content. I don't know. These are both good. I'm putting that there. Really, this video is mostly me telling you to check out this album. But it's not their only album. Mannequin, several years later, this brings us to 2014, came back with Neon Zero. Still very heavy guitars, but it's mixed in a lot of the electronic sounds of contemporary pop from 2014. It's not really a satisfactory follow-up. I understand the need to explore in sounds, and maybe if they had more work since then, it would seem like trying one thing and the variety across the career is worth it. But here it contextualizes as a petering out. Her songwriting isn't on the top form that it was. The sound of it in general, we already had art pop by that point. It's not going to compete with art pop, but by incorporating that kind of aesthetic, it's also not going to compete with rock music. Seeing Mannequin as kind of disposable is quite tragic. That said, it's still a reasonable listen. You know, that detraction was in contrast to one of the best albums of the century. It's going underneath the rest of these, but I'm keeping my copy of it, and it is still worth occasionally putting on. I look forward to whatever else Care might have to offer. I don't know to what extent Mannequin is an active project anymore, but either way, I'm a big fan.